you know, scan things and automatically kind of bookmark stuff and retweet or share it for you if the content that it sees kind of fits certain criteria. But I'm a bit dubious of that because yeah, I don't think you can really replicate human intuition. So one of the main reasons why we need to do this, or why you should do this, is because sharing and retweeting content that's relevant to your audience can really help you build your reputation as an expert and as a trusted source of information about a specific topic or set of topics or sector. The other main strand to why it's important is that it's part of engaging in a meaningful dialogue, in as much as it's kind of like a game of give and take. So everyone on social media wants their posts to be engaged with, and when you do it for somebody else, it kind of boosts their reach, it boosts their online ego, as it were, and it strengthens your relationship. It helps other people reach a wider audience, and you know, hopefully that means it'll increase the likelihood that they'll return the favor to you as well. There are some obviously there are rules about doing this and principles that we need to think about. There are some instances, for example, where just replying to a post on Facebook or replying to a tweet on Twitter is the most appropriate type of response. So rather than, you know, kind of retweeting and engaging in, you know, kind of putting something on your own feed, sometimes just commenting on what they've said is enough in itself. And I think that's usually works for kind of light-hearted stuff, and you know, probably straightforward questions where people need, you know, where people are asking something and you just want to give them an answer. But I'd say probably the most important principle in content curation is that you need to add value, and you do that by genuinely interacting with other people's posts, and by adding something to the discussion, not simply, you know, don't kind of like click and run, just retweet or share something without, you know, without saying anything, because it's kind of lifeless. You know, it's not a real way of interacting. Always want to try to add a comment when you're retweeting or sharing, and it can be something like picking out a relevant quote from, if it's an article that you're retweeting or sharing. It might be a commentary on the piece itself, saying, well, you know, we found this interesting, especially the parts about X, Y, or Z. And yeah, so I think it's about kind of, you know, or yeah, perhaps it'll be something kind of indicating to your audience and making clear why they should read this thing and why this thing is relevant to them. So those are the kind of basic those are the principles of this. And now we're going to go through the practical side of it, so the mechanics of sharing and retweeting posts. So I'm going to try to share my screen now. Right, can everybody see my Facebook, the Facebook tab that I've got open here? Yes, okay, that's good, great. So, usually on Facebook, when you first log in, as we discussed before, you're always taken to your home page and your home, what is known as your feed, which is an agglomeration of the posts of everybody that you follow and interact with. And let's have a look. No, I don't think I am actually on home. And this is kind of where you see kind of what's going on in your social network. And this is where you are likely to come across what the, interesting bits of content that you want to share, or that you want to interact with, and that interests you. And so once you're on your homepage, and once you've kind of seen something that you like the look of, and so there's a lot of really interesting stuff here, but I'm going to pick out a post that I saw earlier. So I'm searching Shared Life Southwest, who've been doing a lot of very good posts. So if you're on the call from Shared Life Southwest today, well done. It's taking a while to load. Here we go. So Shared Life Southwest have been doing some great posts about what their network have been, what the carers and the people supported in their network have been up to during lockdown. They've been brilliant posts, kind of full of life and energy. And yeah, so I like the look of this and I want to share it. So you identify the post that you want to share, and then look down. There are a series of options on the bottom here. So I'm going to give it a like because I do like it. And now I want to share the post to my own timeline. I need to make sure that I'm doing so as the organizational page rather than my personal profile, which we discussed in the first webinar. So there are two distinct entities on Facebook, and you need to have a personal profile to operate your page. But when you're posting and using social media in a professional context, you always want to be acting as the page. But because when you log in, you're the personal profile, you need to always make sure that you're acting as the page and rather than the profile, because otherwise you might share this, but it won't go to your Shared Life Scheme page. It will just go to your personal page. So this little arrow in the bottom right-hand corner, we click on that. It's been awfully slow. Yes, see, so there it's selected Shared Lives Plus, which is the weird kind of person that we are to operate the page. And what we want to do is select Shared Lives Plus Community. So make sure that it's always your page selected when you are posting. So now you can see there that the logo has changed to the yellow symbol, which means that we're not acting as the page, which is quite important. And now, in the bottom right, we click share. So next to the profile logo, we click share. And we want to share to a page, which is our page. It gives us that option. It ever loads. So there we go. It's share on a page you manage. Now, you'll see, and this will, when we do the intermediate session next week, where we'll cover off events and groups, there is the opportunity to post them in those kind of forums as well. But they will only appear for people that are part of those closed communities then, whereas when you share it on your page, it means everyone that follows you can see them. So share on a page that we manage, it's this one. We don't have any other pages. And so, as I said, we want to share this now, and we want to say something about it. Why are we sharing it? What do we think is good about it? So let's just see.
Oh, Michael, we're going with just Lives Week without the 2020 as the
How
hashtag.
are we?
Yeah.
Good to know. Thank you. Right. Now, let's do a quick check for typos. And we've posted. So it came up with a confirmation message there, which is good. And you will see now, if I go to home, and then we click on the Shared Lives Plus community page. Our followers should now be able to see it like that there. So it's fairly straightforward, and it's just a nice way of promoting what your partners and allies are doing, helping them boost their reach, and helping your following see stuff that they might not otherwise see that is relevant and interesting or fun for them. And yeah, it's part of like that dynamism of social media that kind of gives it its energy and one of its kind of main advantages, I think. So I'm now going to repeat the process for Twitter. Where instead of sharing, the lingo is that it's about the lingo is that you're retweeting. So every post or microblog on Twitter is a tweet, and when you boost that, you retweet it. So I actually was scanning through the Shared Lives Plus news feed earlier, and we probably need to sort out who we're following a little bit, because there weren't loads of really great posts to use as an example this morning. But I suppose there's been a lot going on in the news and stuff. So there's a lot of interesting stuff on there, but it's not necessarily relevant to our webinar this morning. So I saw one earlier, and one of our Shared Lives Plus champions, Andy, Shared Lives Carer, and supports James, and they're quite green-fingered, and have been getting up to some nice kind of allotmenty stuff during lockdown. So when we want to retweet on Twitter, it's the same kind of thing. Isolate the post, isolate the tweet that you want to share, and you don't need to click on it, but I'll click on it to kind of broaden it out. Now you can kind of see more of the photos that he's posted as well. Scroll to the bottom of the tweet underneath any images and any text, and you'll see that there are four options actually. Like on Facebook, there's the option to just like, and on Twitter it's known as fave, like giving something a fave or a favorite, and that's the heart button here. So we'll give that a click, and you can, as you see there, the number of likes has just boosted up. In order to retweet, it's this button in this kind of icon that's one from the furthest left. It looks like a refresh icon. And when you click that, it gives you two options. The first being just to retweet, and the second being to retweet with a comment. As I say, there are some instances where I think you can just let the original tweet kind of speak for itself and do its own work, and I suppose that's something that it's just a question of intuition, really. Sometimes it might be something that's like a joke, and you don't really necessarily need to. You don't need to kind of kill the joke by adding unnecessary comment to it. But most of the time, it's important to show that you are interacting with it in a human way, and show that you actually value what you're looking at and what you're sharing. Because otherwise, why would anybody who follows you, why should they value or share what you post if you don't actually place real value on it? So retweeting with a comment is a kind of way to show that. So we click the bottom of the two options. If we'd have clicked the top option, by the way, it would have just done it. We'd have clicked retweet and it would have just done the retweet, and that would have appeared on our Twitter feed without having to do anything further. But retweet with a comment opens this dialog box, and it gives you a preview of what the tweet is going to look like on your feed. So we've got the original tweet, the images, and then a little space above for us to add our own comment on it. So I'm going to use a hashtag that we used a couple of years ago. Which was all around illustrating the kind of quality of life that shared lives can provide uniquely, and is very much linked to sense of activity and all of the things that people can kind of in shared lives arrangements kind of get up to, and just kind of displaying the different facets of a full life that are only really kind of, we think, can only really be provided when someone's part of like a nurturing and supportive relationship in a family home rather than, say, an institution. So I'm going to give it shared lives as well, which we always tend to do. We always tend to use shared lives as a hashtag in all of our posts, even though it's very general, purely because we just want to get it. We just want to get it out there as much as possible. We know that shared lives doesn't necessarily have the big name recognition that we will eventually need it to have. So we tend to use the shared lives hashtag as often as possible. Right, that's that. So I'm happy with that. As you can see, we've got the option now to add, again, as we discussed, this is like we discussed last time, you can add some kind of multimedia elements to your own tweets, and then it's the same when you're retweeting. So you could add an emoji, which is this smiley face character here, a GIF, or another photo. I think I'll add an emoji because it's a downward pointing hand, so it kind of draws attention to the tweet. And then let's give it a heart. Give it the heart emoji as well, although I don't know where that is at the moment.
Back up, I think.
Is it amongst smileys? You'd have thought it'd be like the top one, wouldn't you?
I think it's just before the flags at the bottom.
Do you know what? I'm going to give it the old heart eyes. Does the same kind of job. Right. Oh, I've duplicated both of them there. Let's, oh. I nearly clicked off it there. So, right, I'm happy with all that. So, and then now that we're finished, we just click retweet. And just to check, see how it's going to look, you can go to your profile, your wall or feed, and underneath we've got a pinned tweet up there, which we can discuss next week. But Yeah, here we go. And it's appeared there at the top of our feed.
So Janice asked what we use a hashtag for. So a hashtag is initially introduced by Twitter, although it does also work on Facebook. But basically what Twitter will do and Facebook will do is generate content based on people who are using the same hashtags. And you can also follow all posts that contain that hashtag as well. So when you hear about something trending, it means that that hashtag is being used a lot and it's generating lots of posts on that particular topic. So when I'm sort of joking that, you know, hopefully hashtag shared lives might start trending one day, you know, we want people who are involved in shared lives to keep using that and get the message out there. And yeah, as I said, it also means you can actually, if you're looking for content to curate, a good way of doing that would be to search using the hashtag, and then you will come across all relevant posts that are using that hashtag. So it's just a good habit to get into. And as I say, you know, we always use hashtag shared lives, hashtag better shared, and obviously we've got Shared Lives Week coming up. So just a good habit to get into. And as I said, it also means you can follow similar tweets and messages on that topic.
Yeah, definitely. At its simplest level, a hashtag is just the way of organizing information. And yeah, as Nick said, it's a way you would use it proactively and as a consumer of the information too. So one way in which it kind of comes into its own is if you're at an event and the event's got a specific hashtag. It means that anyone who's concerned with that event or is interested in it and wants to know what's kind of happening at it, if everybody who posts from that event, you know, is posting kind of, you know, quotes from speakers at it or whatever, that if somebody wants to follow the progress of the event and what's happening, if they type in that hashtag, everything tagged with it will come up. So it's a way of organizing information. It's been complicated and it's been mystified, I think, by people have taken to start kind of hashtagging anything. So you'll see like hashtag and then a really long, really specific sentence, which is just, I can only describe it as like, I mean, it's pointless, and it's just I think it's kind of like supposed to be, I think it's supposed to be like funny. But like I don't really get it myself. But yeah, that when people do that, when you see a hashtag where it's like hashtag I forgot my wallet and now I'm having to go back home from work, lol, what am I like? That's not really what they were designed for and doesn't really serve any purpose at all. I think it's just yeah, as I say,
people use it to emphasize a point now quite a lot. On Twitter and Facebook.
Yeah.
And that's an example of that. But as Michael said, it's not really what it was designed to do. It can be quite amusing in some people's eyes.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, hashtag idiot or whatever.
Yes, yeah.
People use it like that. But yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't recommend that on a sort of, in a sort of corporate or work environment. It's not what it was designed for. It's designed to group together those subjects which people can then follow.
Yeah.
There's another one from Carrie, Michael on the chat saying, do you only get others' posts on your newsfeed if you're friends with them? As we only have our posts on ours. Yeah. So you'll get the content based on the people that you follow and connect with on Facebook and Twitter. We are following people but don't see any of their posts. I know you said I could change that in 90 days. Oh, what's the 90-day thing, Michael? Do you know about that?
That's around changing your handle, like your profile handle. I'm surprised actually, Kerry. I don't. That doesn't. It seems like something's wrong there. If you're following people, you ought to be able to see their posts on your news feed. The thing is you don't have to be friends with someone actually to see the content now, because a lot of, for example, on my personal Facebook, I've kind of muted and unfollowed a lot of people as the years have gone by. So there are very few people that I actually follow or am friends with on there. But I've got a lot of organizations which are like news, like news organizations or particular I don't know, groups that I'm part of or whatever. And it's sufficient to be able to see their stuff. It's sufficient just to have liked them and be following them. But there are different options. There are different levels to which you can follow and interact with someone. So I'm just going to show you now as an example, and it might be worth, Kerry, picking out a particular example of somebody that you're following that you're not seeing the posts of on your feed, and then just going on their profile. So let me just share my screen like so.
And I've just seen one from Catherine. We'll come back to that after.
Yeah, okay.
Dealt with this one.
So I'll just share my screen again. So if I go on, we'll just use Shared Life Southwest as an example. So I saw that in our feed earlier today because we're following them. Now, underneath here, so we've liked the page, and it used to be when I was a lad that liking something and following it was the same thing. They've now split that out into two separate functions. Liking a page, I think that when you like a page, it sets as a default that you would be following them. But you might want to, for whatever reason, I don't know, you might want to show kind of solidarity with something and give them the boost of a like without having to follow and actually see what they post. Similarly, I think you can now do the reverse and follow a page without liking it. So if there's a political figure that you despise or a commentator that you don't like, but you kind of want to keep abreast of what they're saying, and you want to follow them, but without giving them the kind of kudos of a like, you would click follow, I think, and not liking. So, but when you click on the following button here and the drop down arrow, this gives you different options, which I think are ways of curating the regularity and the kind of prominence that the posts from this page will achieve on your feed. So I can click see first if I want. Default is just, I assume, kind of the default setting. Unfollow them. And then notifications, I think that might give you a push notification. So that's usually on your phone. So if you enable push notifications for Facebook, which is a kind of worms in my opinion, it means it will come up with a message even if you're not kind of actively logged in or looking at it. But go and have a look, Kerry, I'd say, at the pages that you are following and that you've liked, and just check the settings under here, check that you're following them. And then if you're still not seeing anything, then I don't really know what that would be about. It sounds like there would be a problem, and I'd maybe need to see it. So maybe we could have a separate conversation about that. But as you say, it may be that there's something happening where Facebook's waiting to approve something about your page, so it's got limited functionality. But give that a try. Have a look, and then keep us posted.
There's another one which said to come back to. So what is the @ symbol used for? So this is another example of something that was developed on one platform and now has usage across others. So originally the @ symbol was used to denote someone's actual Twitter handle, which is their address. So if for my personal account on Twitter, it's @NickGordon75. And so that's the actual address. And then when you're actually posting or tweeting, I should say, if you want to sort of tag me in or another organization in, then you would type out the full handle using the @ symbol at the beginning, and that means they get a notification to show that they've been tagged in, and they might want to share that content as well, or like it and things like that. So it's a good way of interacting with other people, with other accounts, to generate more followers and more people to look at the information that you're putting out.
Should we just do a quick demonstration of that, actually, Nick? I think it's probably worth doing it. So it's like as Nick said, it's kind of most relevant for Twitter, that. So I'll just share my screen again. And so what we would, so the context in which we'd kind of use this is, so say we want to write a tweet. I'm trying to think of a controversial way of doing this. I'm so used to like my own Twitter activities being relatively controversial. So it would be something like, and I won't post this because I off the top of my head on the spot, I actually can't think of anything super relevant or like pertinent to post. But what you would do is, so let's put hello, and then you click the @ and it's typing in the @ in this box, which pulls up Twitter's kind of tagging capacity. So let's just I don't know, Phoebe's not here. So when you type @ everything you type after that immediately is kind of lit up blue like magic, and that shows that the tag capability is working. And now a drop-down box has opened, and you can see here a load of people that we're following and that follow us have come up as options for us to tag. So we'll just choose Phoebe. So you don't actually even need to know her handle because it gives me the option here, but I can click on her. And then it's brought up Phoebe's name. So yeah, sorry, it's very banal, but I just can't think of anything else to write. So if I were to click tweet on this now, it would launch the tweet, and it would appear on our Twitter page, and it would also appear in our followers pages, so that in our followers feeds rather, so they could see that we've interacted with this person, with Phoebe. But crucially, it would also create a notification for Phoebe. So whenever she next logs into Twitter, would get a notification up front saying, this person has mentioned you, and this is what's known as mentions in Twitter parlance. So that's how the tag works basically, and that's what it works for.
It does have a function on Facebook as well.
I think it's the same thing on Facebook. So yeah. I'm going to discard this now. It didn't used to work, but now let's just go.
You can do it for pages on Facebook. If you know the address of the page, then you can start typing in the @ and it displays it. It removes the @ symbol, doesn't it? I think.
Yeah. So Kerry, this is maybe a source of a couple of problems. I've never really heard of this happening before. The fact that you're having trouble with creating the profile username, but basically every profile, once you've created it, has a unique tag, and ours is, as you can see, it's not great. It's linked to our website, but the @ is at the front there. Underneath the page title, you've got the page username. We could do with changing that actually at some point. So, but the @ there is how you would is what you would type in to tag a page on Facebook. So I know a good example, although it might take ages to scroll down to do it, but say for example we know that maybe one of our schemes is having an event or a fundraiser, we want to help them boost their reach and let more people know about it. So we would say something like, make sure you head on down to, and then think of it, I'll try and think of a scheme. So this is where we would tag the person that we want to kind of, that we want to link to. Here we go.
So it'll bring up all the options.
Yeah.
Same as Twitter.
And actually,
should do.
It doesn't, I don't think on Facebook that it's limited to people that are following you or that you're following, or maybe it will. We'll just use our, I mean, this isn't a great example, but we'll just use our personal page for now. I'm going to post this. Well, no, I won't actually, because it's just going to look weird. But when I post this,
party or,
oh yeah. Right, I am going to post it really quickly and then I'll delete it. So just so you can see what it's going to look like. So when I post this now, let's go onto our page. Because what's good about this is now it should, yes, as you can, so you can see there that by @ing it, by using the @ it's linked, it's created a magical hyperlink in the text box. And that means when people look at it, they click on it and it actually actively directs the people, directs the reader to that page. Now, obviously we don't want this to go here, so I'm going to delete that now, but that's how it works on Facebook. So yeah, good shout out for.
The second part of, second part to Catherine's thing about the @ was, can't seem to invite people to follow our shared lives page, only to my personal page. Any ideas why? Is it worth just showing how we can do that on the page, Michael?
So
like
the way that you get, now it used to be that, I don't know, because I've not done this for a while. It used to be that you could only invite people to your page who you were friends with on your personal page, and it's a measure. I think it's a measure designed to reduce spam, and you know, because otherwise you could just click millions of people and invite them to like it without any prior connection to them. So it may be that is still the case, and that is why you can't, if you're not linked up with any friends yet, that you can't invite people. I know that we experimented with last year or the year before. We made friends with a lot of people that we kind of assumed or knew or were connected to. There either were existing shared lives carers or people connected to it. And then once we became friends with them on Facebook, we were then able to invite them to like our page. So invite friends here. So if you go at the top of your, if you go to the top of your feed of your page here, and it's got to be a page and not your personal profile, so make sure you've got that selected. I think there's a shortcut for it as well somewhere, but you can always find it here on these 3 little dots underneath your header image, and invite friends here. So here we go. Here are a couple of friends, so you can see who's already liked us at the top there. But here are a couple of friends that haven't already liked us. So I'm just going to send one now to Nicholas Ware. But you could theoretically select as many as you wanted from that group. But the people in that drop-down box there can only come from your personal account's friend list. And the way, if you wanted to start adding to that, so you would I suppose what you would do is, the only way you can really do this is by searching people out, or them searching you out and requesting you as a friend. So, but it might be worth doing a quick demonstration of that now as well. Actually, Nick, have you got a Facebook profile that?
Yeah.
Would you mind me adding you?
Just put it on, yeah. If it's not.
Yeah.
I was going to say, have you got any other topics to cover, or should we just?
No, that's it. Now we've covered.
We can carry on with this and any other questions.
Yeah. The only other bit I suppose I'd like to ask, and I might move on to that in the last 5 minutes or so, is we've obviously we've kind of got content that we want to discuss ready for the intermediate social media webinar, but it might be good to just get some feedback from all of you guys on what you would like to see covered in it, and see whether we can kind of accommodate that. So we'll just dead quickly search for Nick though, and just
that's not me.
No, it doesn't look like that. So you want to type in the name of the person that you want to add, and then go to people. Oh, there he is. He's the top person. So, oh, Nick, have you got? Are you private, or have we already friended you?
Maybe you have.
That's annoying. Right.
And do I already? I already like the page.
You already like the page as well. I'm just trying to think. Who can we?
Thinking of that, there's a good trick as well, that if you do get any interactions on any post that you do, and you can then see who's interacted, liked, or whatever, and then it usually tells you whether they already like the page or not, and you can invite them to like the page. That's a good little trick to remember. So anytime that there's you put out there.
That's a really good point, actually, Nick. I know Gillian might not yet. Gillian is our new fundraiser, and she might not be a friend of the page yet, a friend of us yet. That's her, isn't it? Yeah. Councillor at Cheshire West and Cheshire Council, right? Add friend. Right, so that's basically how you do it, and she'll get a notification now that we want to be friends with her, and then if she deems us worthy, she will accept our request. And then once she has become a friend of our personal profile, then she will appear on the populated list that we brought up before when we clicked on the invite friends to like this page button. So I think we've got another couple of questions in the chat, Nick.
We'll just so yeah, hopefully that helps you, Catherine, a little bit with trying to get more people to like the page. But you did say we're not encouraged to have carers and individuals or organisations as friends on the personal Facebook pages. So I assume that means that the account that you've set up to link to any pages. So yeah, it's difficult to try and stay within various social media policy rules and things.
What it might be worth doing then, Catherine, is like we mentioned when we were on the session when we were talking about in setting up profiles. It might be worth setting up a professional personal profile, if that makes sense. So you'll have your own social media accounts that you use in your private and everyday life, but it might be worth creating a personal account, which is kind of, it could, you be like your professional scheme worker account, basically. So
yeah, there wouldn't be any images or you literally just setting it up.
Don't put any personal details or anything on there. It's just for the purpose. So a good example of that actually is our Home Share UK page is operated by a personal profile called Home Share Alice, and actually ours as well. Ours is just Shared Lives Plus. So just create, just it doesn't even need to be a person actually. So home share Alice is our home share officer, Alice Williams. But you could easily just have the person profile name as your scheme as well. Doesn't even need to be a person's name.
And remember as well, sometimes Facebook doesn't always like it if you set up that kind of page without an obvious name. That's just something to bear.
Yeah, it might see that as spam. So, Catherine Morgan, who's head of our Wales development, she said that she's got a kind of hybrid personal profile page. So I'm just going to type you in, Catherine, and we might see.
Got about 5 minutes left, so if we do this bit and then see if there's any more questions.
Yeah, is that you? The second one down, Catherine Morgan works at Shared Lives Plus. No, are you the? I don't know where you are.
I think.
Anyway, we'll I'll try and scout you out later, Catherine. I just want to ask really quickly. Is there anything really pressing that you would like us to cover in more detail in future sessions, in the intermediate sessions, and then if we have an advanced session as well? We were thinking next week that we're going to cover things like scheduling posts in advance, using groups, closed groups, using events. I think we're potentially thinking about using analytics, but that might be something for the future because it's a bit more advanced.
Frames from Lauren as well.
Oh, Facebook frames. Okay, that's a good shout. Okay. Facebook frames, great. Okay. Can I please have some help with making a Facebook frame? Scheme staff at Wiltshire wanting to make something for Shared Lives Wiltshire, but it's not on Canva. Yeah, we can include that. I think when Phoebe's when we can get Phoebe, because she did quite well on those ones, didn't she, Nick, for the Shared Lives Plus?
I'm just going to say, if anyone wants to set up a sort of personal professional account solely for the purpose of managing a page, and they're struggling with that, let us know. But I think that is definitely the best way of ensuring that you're keeping your work and your personal social media activity separate. It's just a really good way of doing it.
Yeah. Which for some of us is absolutely paramount. Is there anything else that people have a particular desire or need for that would like to have covered in detail at a future session?
Thank you for tweeting us, Catherine, as we've been training.
Yeah, thanks, Catherine.
So last sort of few minutes, if anyone's got any other questions on today, or as Michael said, any ideas for areas that we can cover, can we have access to this training online? If you mean the content from this session, Sasha, then I've recorded it.
Oh, that's good, Nick, because I only just remembered that Phoebe wasn't on the call and she normally records them because she's the host. Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah, I have. It was a couple of minutes in when I remembered, but most.
Oh, I wasn't.
So what we've done with the other sessions is we've posted them onto the dashboard on the member area of the website under Shared Lives Week resources. So
do you know what? Shall I just show people where that is?
Go for it. It's on the dashboard. If you log in.
Am I still sharing my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll log in.
On a scheme or yeah.
Gosh, I hope I can remember my password.
Oh, Kerry's just said, hang on, a couple more things. Kerry's just said, is it worth paying to boost a post? this is a whole new area which maybe we should cover on the intermediate. But if you want a very quick answer, yes, because Facebook does tend to give more priority, obviously, to that. It'll get you more people like to see it, obviously. And to be honest, the whole model around social media now is shifted quite a lot towards paid content. It's very difficult to generate massive amounts of following through organic content. So as a simple answer, yes, but we'll cover that.
The one thing I will say about that, Kerry, is at the moment we part of our strategic advice and support work, which we offer, kind of to go into a kind of consultancy partnership with schemes that are either new or want to grow, and kind of buy in our services to like, and our expertise to kind of help do that. We do offer a kind of a boosted, like a paid for social media advertising campaign support. But the thing is, it's quite complex and it's quite a big, there's a lot of things that you can, do basically, and a lot of things you can refine and segment and modify. The boosting a post is kind of the simple way of doing it, where you just throw a tenner, you just write a post out and then click boost, and it just gives it a bit more of a bump up. So that's the simple way of doing it. But
okay, yeah, show that quickly then, Michael, and then we'll have to finish off. Janet said, can we look at Zoom's, Teams, and whatever else we need? Yeah, we can cover other channels. Don't forget, there's a beginner's guide to Zoom as well, Janet.
Oh yeah, sorry, that's what I was supposed to be doing, wasn't it? I was just looking at the dashboard. Yeah. So Nick, I don't know if that guide to Zoom is on the digital toolkit yet, but
should be. Should be under information and resources, shared lives.
So click the shared lives card.
You go to the bottom of that.
And down here.
That's where the beginner's guide to Zoom is, right at the bottom. And then if you, yeah.
And then, yeah, so there's the beginner's guide to Zoom. And then just above that, you'll see here the social media training. Click on this link here. And here's the digital toolkit, which has got everything you'll need. So it's got the guide and the resource right at the top here, where it says Social Media for Shared Lives Basic. And that's the kind of physical resource that we've been using. And then here's a recording with 20 freeze frames of our faces. And then here are the social media template images for you to use when you're using Canva, Twitter and Facebook. And then there's some guides for how to write in a shared lives context, and our presentation on storytelling in shared lives. So loads of goodies for you there to use.
Just quickly, from who has to leave, the social media's said that they have to leave the webinar soon. It will end for you, but we'll post.
Yeah, that's fine. Social media
on the page. You'll be able
to, that's fine. That's Phoebe who's had to keep the meeting going to run the account. Sorry, I should have said this at the start.
Oh,
Phoebe,
right, sorry. Hello, Phoebe.
Yeah, Phoebe's not been part of the meeting because she had another important one to go to, but she had to keep it going because she's got the professional Zoom license. So it might go now.
Okay, we'll better go then, chaps.
Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. And yeah, if you have any questions that you think of in the interim before the next session that you can't think of now, email us, press@sharedlivesplus.org.uk. And similarly, any little issues that you might have been having with anything that we've covered so far, do get in touch again. And if there's anything we've missed that you think is important, please let me know. So yeah, good luck in all of your social media efforts, and we will see you soon. Thank you.
Great stuff. Bye. Thanks, everyone.
Oh, I wasn't showing my face as I said bye then. Bye.
In the corner somewhere.